Hello, friends. It is Nomad Brad coming to you from my box truck. How are you guys doing today? My question is, can you see me? Can you hear me? How's the sound levels? Appreciate you all joining me here, coming to you from the beautiful beach of San Diego. Very, very lovely day today. Dan, Diana, Marview, can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Let me know if it's coming through. Yes to both. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody for joining me. I love doing the lives. I love talking to the people. I see Marview's here. Charles, Dan is here. Dan says my audio's low. Let me bump it up a little bit here. Hold on. Check, check. Audio test. Max volume. There we go. There's a little more audio. See if that's a little better for you guys. Oh, Matt CA is in the house. What's going on, Matt? Appreciate all you guys joining me. So I wanted to show you, volume is low. Okay, let's see. What else can we do here? Let's kick it up. Kick up the volume. It might be my headset. Let's see. Check, check, check. All right, guys, how is that? It looks like, on my end, it looks like the volume is pretty good. Dan says better. CMH Bullet wants more volume. Pump up the volume. I think I'm about maxed out, brother. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's it. That's it from me, man. Looking at my meter, though, it looks like it's about max. So anyway, turn up your volume. Maybe try that out. I don't know. I think I'm maxed. Okay, cool. Everyone says it's good. David Anderson coming in from Oregon. So I wanted to show you guys. Oh, Matt's got earbuds. Okay. I wanted to show you guys something cool. So I'm coming to you today from my laptop. I'm using a mobile streaming software called OBS Studio. And so what's cool about this is when I'm on my Mac laptop, the my iPhone wirelessly connects to the laptop as an external camera. So I wanted to do this to show you guys. Move the mic closer to my mouth. I wanted to do this now I'm peeking. Hold on. I wanted to do this. Drop, drop, drop. Okay. I wanted to do this to show you guys. Okay, I moved the mic closer. It looks like I'm peeking. But I don't know. You guys tell me. If it sounds too garbled, then I'll have to dial it down. But okay, we'll go down a little bit. Okay, cool. So the Mac software connects directly to my phone. So I wanted to show you guys where I'm at here in California. So check this out. When I go, I can select my iPhone. And now I have another camera. It's wireless. It's just my iPhone cam. So I can do a little second view, a little second shot. Hey, what's going on? Isn't that cool? Just totally wireless. But look where I'm at right now. So this is my view of you guys. And then look at this. Right on the beach. Turn it down now. How dare you, sir? David says too loud. Marview says that's cool. Okay. So this is my view on the... Oh, look at that. Someone's got a tow truck coming in. I think this lady in the Jeep over here actually, like, it looks like she pulled down in a little hole. Like maybe she's stuck or something. I don't know. But anyway, check out this view. We got the sunset, the beach going right now. Really beautiful. So I got this view. This is where I've been basically working while I'm here at the beach. I've been doing all my YouTube editing and meeting with clients on Zoom right here, looking out the window. And then if I scroll over, then I got this view right here, just looking out my side window. So absolutely loving the van life right now. Really appreciating San Diego. Super cool. So I'll turn that off. I just wanted to show you guys. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool to see that you can connect your iPhone like that. So anyway, but so what I wanted to say is I've really been appreciating my time here in San Diego. I'm hanging out on the beach during the day, and then I only have to drive about 3 miles into the city to find a free parking spot for the evening. Yo, what's up, Outdoors Dreadhead? Thanks for joining the stream, brother. I'm always happy to have you in here, and happy to see you joining in, buddy. So I'm only 3 miles from a parking spot. So basically, this has been my life for like the last week. Is I've just been hanging out at the beach and then going in at night, and it's so cool to be able to like do a little work and then go out and walk on the sand. I went for 3 walks today. Went barefoot, did a little grounding, and just walked barefoot through the sand along the ocean. So it's been super relaxing. Diana Sailor says, "What's the gas prices?" Gas prices are high. Gas prices are high, Diana. I just put in 10 gallons today. It cost me $50. So $5 a gallon is what I'm paying for gas in San Diego. And so it's a little high. I was pretty spoiled in Texas. Gas was like $3 a gallon or less. I was paying like 250 a gallon when I was there a few months ago. So definitely spoiled coming from Texas, which is like the oil state, and then out here to California where everything is just taxed into oblivion. Robert Michael says, "Have you seen many homeless camps in San Diego?" Robert Michael, I have not seen many homeless camps at all. And coming from, again, I was in Austin, Texas, and there were homeless camps everywhere. I mean, big, big homeless camps. If you guys look on YouTube for like homeless camps in Austin, I mean, it was massive. They had structures that they built with like plywood and old furniture and tarps. There were massive homeless encampments in Austin, and I haven't seen really anything yet here in San Diego. It's pretty clean. It really is. I'm sure as you go north, like more towards Los Angeles and San Diego, or not San Diego, San Francisco, I know they have a lot more of a homeless issue. But here in San Diego, I haven't seen hardly anything. A lot of people living in their cars, like me. I can't judge. A lot of folks living in their cars, but not many homeless people like camped out. So yeah, it's been nice. It's been a super clean city. Haven't seen a lot of trash. I haven't seen any crime. I haven't seen any fights break out or anything. So it's been super, super peaceful down here. So really appreciating my time and, kind of just dropping down into a flow, getting work done, getting videos edited. And it's nice to finally like not be rushing around. So much of my previous van life was about, rushing and going from place to place. And I always kind of would end up getting in a big hurry. So it's nice to be here and just relaxed and not have to rush to go anywhere. So I appreciate all you guys for joining me. Outdoors Dreadhead says the homeless are in Los Angeles. Yep, I believe it. Mountains for Me says Central California, same. Hundreds of homeless, crime, and noise. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like, I mean, if I was homeless, I would probably want to be in California. It's pretty nice here. The weather's pretty tolerable, and so that would be my choice. I would come here. Robert Michael says, "You just had an auction in my neck of the woods, and box vans are going for 11 to $13,000. Yes. So guys, that's the topic of today's live stream. I wanted to show you guys what I do to find rigs for sale, because a lot of folks, that's like the number one question that people ask me when they're really serious about getting a rig is like, where do I buy it? How do I pick one out? And I also see the same thing on the Facebook groups. I'm in a lot of Facebook pages, shuttle bus conversion, box trucks conversion. And the common theme is like, where do you find rigs at? And I tend to take it for granted that I know how to find them. And so I'm just realizing that a lot of people don't know how to find them. So that's what we're going to cover today. So I'm going to switch over. If you guys hear any like loudspeaker in the background, there's like rowboats out on the shore, like the rowing boats, and there's the guy in the front with the megaphone that's like stroke, stroke, left, left. So we got a little bit of that going on outside. Don't mind it. Matt CA says, "At this rate, living in my van by the river is about to become a huge flex." Yes, Matt, I'm telling you, living in a van by the river, huge flex, huge cost savings. You're not spending 3 grand a month on rent. and all the housing expenses related to that. And you get to live wherever you want. You know, you can spend time in San Francisco, San Diego, LA, you go to Arizona. You can, it's just so, there's so much flexibility. Robert says, my tan is awesome. Thank you. I've been laying out in the sun quite a bit. And honestly, most of my tan came from being at Tiny Fest because I was standing outside without any shade for 2 days talking to people about my van. And so I got really, really baked at Tiny Fest. So I got a pretty good tan going. I'm happy about it. Okay, cool. So here's what we're gonna kind of go through. Let me close these messages out real quick. So I've bought quite a few rigs in my personal experience just for vans that I've lived in. I bought my first van, which was a Ford E250 Econoline. I bought that on eBay, actually. And then my next rig, which was my shuttle bus, I bought that on Facebook Marketplace. And then my two box trucks that I have had after that, I also found on Facebook Marketplace. David Anderson says, can you address how and if you have the van inspected before purchase? Absolutely, David. I can cover that right now. There's really no rhyme or reason to this other than I want to make sure I just share a bunch of information with you guys. So I always recommend having a vehicle purchased or having a vehicle inspected before you purchase it. I've purchased quite a few vehicles, so I don't have them inspected, but it's only because of my history. And A, I'm pretty confident that I can like sniff out anything major. And then B, if I've sniffed out everything major, it would mean the repairs that are going to be needed would be minor. And I'm basically just accepting a used van and I'm prepared to spend money on minor repairs. Now, when I talk about major versus minor, a major repair that you would want to check for, like what's the most concern, is going to be engine issues and transmission issues. And so, you know, really the best way to do that is, and I have a video on my YouTube about inspecting a vehicle before you buy it. And I walked through this van I'm sitting in right now. I did a full walkthrough and I showed everybody kind of what I looked at before I made the purchase. So you're checking all the fluids, the oil, the transmission fluid. The first thing you want to do is kind of just look at the overall condition of the vehicle because that'll give you a pretty good indicator of if it's been taken care of or not. So for example, one rig I looked at, it was a private party sale and it was absolutely trashed. Like it was filthy inside. The box truck was full of literally garbage. Like if I wanted to buy the truck, he would have had to go clean it out somewhere. And when I popped the hood, there was like mud and dust all over the engine bay. The cover to the fuse box was missing. And it just looked like a vehicle that was neglected. So I always recommend if you see a vehicle that looks like it's been neglected, just pass on it. There's plenty of these vehicles available and you're so much better off buying something that's been maintained. It's going to do you a lot better in the long run. So checking all the fluids, checking the overall condition of the oil. You want to crawl, you have to crawl under the vehicle. You want to look underneath at the oil pan and the transmission and look for leaks, look for fluid leaks, look for oil residue on the transmission pan, on the oil pan, because that can indicate that there's some kind of a fluid leak coming, or it might need new seals or something. So those are all things to look at. Of course, the test drive, you want to start the vehicle up. Preferably, you want to start it cold. So when you get there, if the engine's already warm, like the vehicle's already been driven, then that's a pretty good indicator that it might have an issue starting, or there might be some kind of an issue after it first starts up before it warms up that maybe the seller is trying to kind of hide from you. So you want to, ideally, you want to come up to the vehicle with it, the engine being cold and not started, and you want to turn it over and experience, you know, what it sounds like from the initial startup, see how difficult or easy it is to start and go from there. So that's kind of just a little thing you can do to kind of just do an overall inspection. And then if it passes that, like if you go in person and look at it and there's not a bunch of leaks and the vehicle looks clean, under the hood looks clean, it looks like it's been maintained well, I would still recommend you have a mechanic check it out. So you have two options for that. The first option is you can take them, tell the buyer, or I'm sorry, tell the seller, you're the buyer, tell the seller you want to have the vehicle inspected before you purchase it. Most sellers understand and they'll be happy to work with you on that. And so you can arrange for a mechanic in the area to check out your rig. So all you do is you find a local mechanic that's close to the location of the vehicle you're looking at. Just call the mechanic and tell them, hey, I want to do a pre-purchase inspection. Tell them what the vehicle is, but specifically say you want a pre-purchase inspection, because those are usually like a pre-negotiated price that and service that mechanics provide. So it should only cost you, maybe $100 to have this done. And they'll have like a 30 or a 50-point checklist, and they'll go through and look at everything. They'll look at the condition of the brake pads, all the fluids. They'll test the air conditioning, the heater. They'll kind of go and do all these little checks for you, just to give you an idea that generally the vehicle is in good condition. So ask for a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic. Your other option is, if there's not a good mechanic close, or if the vehicle's kind of in a remote location, you could also just hire a mobile mechanic. So a mobile mechanic will cost you probably a little bit more money, but it would be easier because they'll go to the car. You don't have to take the van to the mechanic. So they'll come to you and then they'll do the same service. They'll just walk around, check it, plug in their code reader, probably take it for a small test drive, and just make sure it's good to go. Now, that's not a 100% guarantee, but that's pretty good peace of mind. If the vehicle passes a pre-purchase inspection, you can kind of rest assured there's nothing major wrong with it, and it's probably going to go a little while for you without having any major repairs. So that would be my suggestion. Yeah, exactly. Gentle Stone says $100 can save you thousands, and that's what I always tell people is it's going to cost you money. It might cost you $100, but if you find out the vehicle has, say a transmission leak, or maybe the air conditioner isn't functional and you don't think about checking it, it could be thousands of dollars in repairs. So what you could do, hey, Loving Life just joined. Hello, thanks for joining the live today. What you can do once you have the report from the mechanic, say it's something minor, like, well, not minor, say it's something like medium level, like the brakes are worn out, or the air conditioner isn't functional, then you can take that report to the seller and say, hey, the mechanic says it's going to need these repairs. That's $2,000 of repairs, so I'd like to offer you $2,000 less on the purchase price of the vehicle. So even though you're spending $100, it doesn't mean if the vehicle comes back with some problems that you can't buy the vehicle. Now you actually have a bargaining chip that you could potentially buy the vehicle at a lower price. So that $100, it could save you thousands just by finding issues and then negotiating a lower price from the seller. And then, of course, if there's something major, just walk away from it and look at a different vehicle. There's tons of these things for sale. So the most important thing when you're looking at a vehicle is you want to try to use logic and not emotion. And I know it's difficult because as humans, we purchase with emotion, and then we try to justify the purchase with logic, right? So when you're thinking about buying a van, you're thinking 10 steps ahead about the build out and about you being on the beach and watching the sunrise, and you just want to get to that point. You want to get to the beach. So the emotion of it will cause your brain to kind of ignore the logic of it, which could be, hey, the transmission in this van is a little questionable, and so you should probably pass on it, right? So it's very important that you use logic and just follow the steps, have it inspected. If there's an issue, negotiate a lower price or walk away, and don't allow your emotions to step in and then cause you to ignore that. So that's another key I would give you is when you're buying, always try to use logic and never have the scarcity mindset that, oh, this is the only rig for sale. If I don't buy this one, there's not going to be another one. I'm going to have to live in my apartment for another year. You just got to remember there's always going to be more options. And the reality is, with what we're talking about here, box trucks, shuttle bus, van, any of these platforms, There's always more of them for sale, especially box trucks and shuttle buses, because as companies come and go out of business, and as they retire higher mileage vehicles, there's kind of a steady flow of vehicles being put on the marketplace. So you might have to wait a few days or a couple weeks, but there's always going to be more vehicles coming up for sale. And I say that as someone that's been buying these vehicles for over 5 years now. And there's always new vehicles. And sometimes, if you find one you really like and it doesn't work out, what ends up happening is you kind of by default have to go back and keep looking, and you might find a better deal come up because you don't know, you can't read the future, but there's a possibility there's a better vehicle that will fit your needs better at a better price, and it's not available for sale yet. And you don't know that, but it's going to be available in 2 weeks. So always have that mindset. There could always be something better coming up. Okay, Robert says Ritchie Brothers. We're going to look up Ritchie Brothers really quick, or I'm just going to put it in my open the browser here, and we'll look at that in a minute, because I do know that auctions are a good place to get vehicles as well. So we'll look at that. We don't need notifications. Okay, but starting over, we're going to start with Facebook Marketplace because that's the place I've been super successful buying vehicles. So I want to show you guys what I did. Let me move my little window here so you guys can see better. Okay, so I'm on Facebook Marketplace, and if we go to Facebook, we'll start from scratch, and we'll click on, can you guys, I guess you can't see the top of my tab, but you click on the tab for Marketplace, and then we're in Marketplace, and then you're just searching. So whatever you're looking for, this is for any vehicle. If you want a van, if you want a bus, if you want a box truck, you just type it in. For this example, we're going to look at box trucks because I think they are the best platform. And so you search box trucks, and then you have some filtering options down here. So right now I am in San Diego, California, but you can click on the filtering options and you can set your location and you can choose a radius. So depending on the supply of vehicles in your area, like right now in San Diego, there's a lot of vehicles just within like 25 miles. And so I'm going to keep the radius pretty small. But if you're in a more rural town or somewhere where you're not seeing a lot of results, expand your radius and don't be afraid to go up to, 100 miles. Because if you're really looking for the right vehicle, driving 100 miles to go look at a vehicle is really not that big of a deal, and it's worth it to get the right vehicle at the right price. So even if it means you have to drive, take a day off work, or go on the weekend, have a friend road trip down with you, don't be afraid. Don't be limited by your geographical location. Don't be afraid to go and expand your search area. So I'm going to apply. We're going to go 20 miles within San Diego, and we're looking at box trucks. And then they also give you a price. So if you guys have a max budget, you can put that in. But I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down the page. And so you can see there's quite a few box trucks for sale. And you have there's kind of two main types that you'll find. The first one that you'll see a lot of, and let me move my little face again so I'm not in the way of what we're talking about. So the first thing you'll see is like this box truck up here in the right. Clearly has a wrap for a vehicle. It says pacificsurf.com. So if you buy a vehicle like this from a company you'll want to make sure that you get maintenance records from it. Because if the company's owned it for a while, they should have maintenance records, and you'll want to make sure they've been taking good care of it. Because some companies have more of a mindset of, we're just going to buy a vehicle, we're not going to spend money maintaining it, we're going to drive it till it breaks, and then we're going to just sell it and buy a new one. And so that's a vehicle you don't want, is a vehicle that somebody has abused and they haven't been changing out the parts, the mechanics are shot on it, it needs work. You really don't want to buy someone else's project. What you want to buy is something that's been taken well care of and is ready to be turned over. So like, look at these two rigs. For example, we'll look at this first one here kind of as an example of something that's been, now this vehicle might be fine, I can't really speak to it, but you can just see it's been owned by a company. There's a big dent up in the corner, you know, looks like they hit a tree or something. um, let's see what else we got. You can see up here there's a bunch of like cracking or chipping on the surface, so it looks pretty weathered, and it just looks like they haven't really taken good care of it too much. So that's something I would just definitely you know, want to be cautious of, right? Just be cautious of that. Now, if we look at this rig right next to it, this one right here. Now, this is a 2007 Ford E350. It's $12,500, and it's only has 93,000 miles. So that's pretty good. That's pretty low mileage. And look at the condition of this rig. It's white. It's clean. You know, it looks like it's been well taken care of. The wrap isn't chipping off. I don't see any body damage. The cab looks pretty clean. You know, there's not a whole bunch of trash in here. There's not a bunch of candy wrappers up on the dash. It looks like, you know, a pretty well-maintained rig. Look, it's got the nice little drop-down ramp on the back. I gotta say, I would love to have one of those on a future build. I think the drop-down ramp would make a really nice deck. I would probably do a side access door at that point, but I think something like that would be pretty cool. So, again, this rig looks pretty nice. Under 100,000 miles, $12,500. This is a great deal. Now, it's a longer truck, so I know some of you guys are interested in the longer boxes. This looks like a 16-foot box to me. So that, you know, that'd probably be a pretty good deal. And one thing I wanted to mention too is mileage. So you can see this rig has 93,000 miles, and a lot of folks, you know, when they're buying like regular cars for themselves, personal vehicles, there's the old saying that your parents told you, you know, buy a car with under 100,000 miles. And for the most part, that's a good rule of thumb. Under 100,000 miles, you're not really going to run into any major issues. But when it comes to these heavy-duty commercial vehicles, I really believe they can do a lot more than 100,000 miles before you run into any major issues, and they can go a really long time. And so as we cruise through here, I'll show you guys, but we'll find some that have really high mileage that are still on the road and driving perfectly. So don't necessarily shy away from a higher mileage vehicle. So here's an example right here. This is a GMC Savannah. Now this isn't even really high mileage, but this is 174,000 miles. So this has 74,000 miles than the last van we looked at. So you could think that if you bought that last van for 96,000 miles, you could put 80,000 miles on it and it probably wouldn't even have any issues. So Journey with Nicole just says hers has 230,000 miles and it runs awesome. And that's great. You know, I love to hear the feedback from folks. And that's something else to consider is, you know, you have your brand new vehicle and you have 100,000 miles, and then somewhere between 100,000, I would bump it up to like 130,000 miles. I would say between 130,000 miles to somewhere in the 200,000s is when you can start to expect that there might be some things that kind of start to pop up. But if you get a vehicle with higher mileage, like for example, the first van I bought with 246,000 miles. But the good news about that is because it had such high mileage, they had already replaced almost all the wear and tear components on the vehicle, including the transmission. So it did have the original engine, but it had a remanufactured transmission that had been replaced within just a couple years. It had all the suspension components, the shocks, the tires, the struts, the U-joints, the sway bars. It had all the suspension components replaced. It had the fuel pump replaced. So if you get a vehicle that's higher mileage, you actually might be safe as well because the previous owner already went ahead and fixed all those maintenance wear and tear items that you would otherwise have to be fixing as you get closer to 200,000 miles. So that's something else to consider, is that you might even think about getting into that kind of higher mileage price point. Now, as we cruise down Marketplace, we'll look at what else they got. So here's something else you guys can look out for. So this is from Los Angeles, and this is a vehicle dealer. And so they say we sell box trucks priced between 12,000 between 5,000 and $12,000. We have Fords and GMCs from 2006 to 2009. So if you scroll through these pictures, they have a whole fleet for sale. And this is similar to the box truck that I bought. I bought it from a mechanic in Texas, but he was an auto broker and he bought four retired U-Haul rigs all in one package. And then he did a little bit of maintenance and he was selling them all off individually. And so that's something else you can look for if you want a vehicle that you can be a little more confident in the condition of it. Then look to buy something from a business that makes their business out of selling reconditioned trucks, because they're going to be more cautious. They're not going to want to sell you a lemon. They're not going to want to get a bad reputation or bad reviews on Google for selling people, broken down rigs. So they're going to be a little more honest and forthcoming about the condition of the rigs. And generally, if they find issues with them, hopefully they will take care of them before they list it for sale. Or they might just fully disclose it and be like, hey, this one has some serious issues, and that's why it's only $5,000. So that's another thought to consider. You might look at getting one from one of these private party reconditioners. And so we'll just scroll down Facebook. But you can see, I'm only within 20 miles of San Diego. There's a ton of options here for sale. Here's one that's exactly the same as what I have. It's a 2007 E450. This one has 146,000 miles on it. Let's see what's going on. Curtis T says, I just bought a box truck like yours at a U-Haul in City of Commerce, LA. I think that's Louisiana. They had 7 to choose from. I got a clean, well-kept 14-foot truck, paid $10,500 out the door with license and plates. That's a great deal. I like it. $10,500 is an awesome price. That's better than me. I had to buy mine 2 years ago. I paid COVID prices, and so I had to pay $12,000 out the door. So I'm happy to see that prices are coming back down. I think $10,500 is a pretty good price to pay for a box truck like this. I mean, it's a really good value if you think about what kind of vehicle can you buy these days for $10,000. And this isn't just a vehicle, it's a home. So if you get this for 10 grand, that's going to be your home on wheels. You're not going to have rent, you're not going to have water and utility bills. So I think it's a no-brainer. Here's one in San Diego right now, 2007 14-foot box truck, similar to mine. 185,000 miles, so higher mileage, but he's only asking $8,500. So again, this one looks a little more rough. You would want to just ask about if they have any history on it. And if I was going to buy a truck with 185,000, I would definitely have it inspected. They still got the wrap on the rear door from the construction company that owned it. So I would be cautious on something like this and look for service records. The inside looks pretty clean though. Interior looks clean. Seats don't look all ripped up. A lot of times on these rigs, the seats will have huge rips in them where they're all broken down. So it looks like whoever was operating this vehicle, they took pride. They took pride in the interior of it. So that one might be good. So anyway, that's all I'm going to cover for Facebook, guys. But you can see there's tons of rigs for sale. So hop on Marketplace, see what's in your area. If you don't see anything you like, go ahead and expand your search radius and see if there's something a little bit further out. Insulation truck. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, see what you might find. So another place you can look for rigs is Craigslist. And Craigslist is just going to be a similar situation where you're just going to go and search your criteria, put in box truck, and see what's in the area. David asks if U-Haul has maintenance records. And yes, David, to my knowledge, U-Haul does have maintenance records, and they should provide those for you. And when you can look for vehicles also from U-Haul's website. Let me pull that up really quick. They have a website where they list their trucks for sale. And they'll tell you a little bit about the condition of it. Do you think aluminum body trucks are too heavy? I don't think aluminum is too heavy. The box truck I have now, it's wood. It's wood and a thin layer, it's plywood and a thin layer of fiberglass and a thin layer of aluminum. So I don't think that a full aluminum box would necessarily be any heavier because plywood's pretty heavy. Okay, so here's the U-Haul website. And so you can see this is trucksales.uhaul.com. And so if you go right here, you can see they have all the trucks listed out by size. They have 10-foot box, 14-foot box, and 17-foot box. And then they have the price as low as 11,000, 8,400, 9,500. So we can go ahead and just click on one 14-foot box, 2007. And let's say any range, any distance, search. Oh, I have to put in an address. Let's just put in Los Angeles, California. Search. I appreciate you guys joining the live today. It's nice to have a really active chat. I can see you guys are in there talking about making moves, getting rigs. Yeah, it's interesting. The 10 footers are more expensive. And I think the 10 footers are more desirable for companies that want to use them for, like their work rigs. I think they use the 10 footers for like transport, like for hot shot transport, and they use the 10 footers for small construction vehicles. So for some reason, the 10 footers are a little bit more pricey. Okay, so let's see. So we pulled up the U-Haul truck sales. It shows you this little map up in the corner, which is pretty nice. So you can see where the rigs are for sale at. And then on the right hand side, they just show you all the rigs that are available. We'll click on one, click on view details. And then as you scroll down, they give each vehicle a star rating, a mileage rating, and then a price. So they have a 4-star rated 2009. That's probably the newest U-Haul I've seen for sale in a while. With 190,000 miles for 12,000. They have a 2012 with 128,000 miles for 13,000. So you guys can buy them all right here directly through U-Haul. Pretty simple, and then you'll be able to get some history as well from U-Haul. Curtis says they wanted 10.5 for mine. I offered 9 and they took it. Yep, that's something to keep in mind, folks, as well. I know Curtis mentioned they had a bunch in stock. What did he say? They had 7 to choose from. So right now, I think the vehicle buying market is a little bit soft. I don't think a lot of people are buying vehicles. The economy's struggling. I think businesses are struggling. Businesses that would be buying these trucks to use them in their business are struggling. Some businesses are closing. So I think the demand on these trucks is going down a little bit. So that means as a buyer, you have more purchasing power. So I would absolutely always offer less on a vehicle and, see what kind of a deal you can work out. But hopefully you can save $1,000 off the price and just go ahead and put that into your build out. Robert says, thanks for showing the U-Haul site. You're welcome, Robert. Feel free to check that out on your own, see what vehicles are in your area. And you can give them a call. They list a 1-800 number over here. So you can call them, talk to them, and ask about what the details of the truck. Matt says, I keep forgetting what is your truck and the size of your box. I have a 2007 E450 Econoline. It's the 6.8 liter V10 engine. Now, U-Haul cheats a little bit. So here they call it a 14-foot box truck. The floor is only 11 feet 11 inches. So really it's only like a 12-foot body because that's your walking space. The roof is 14 foot 6 inches. So the nice thing about this truck with the cab over with the 14 almost 15-foot roof is that you can put a lot of solar panels on it. So that extra 30 inches will allow you to add even more solar. Or if you're not doing a ton of solar, you can just use that spot for like a rooftop deck or something. Let me check the comments really quick. Okay, David, can you park these at RV parks? David, I don't think so. RV parks are pretty picky. They really I'm sure some of them are fine, but for the most part, RV parks, they only want you in like a manufactured RV. And a lot of RV parks have a stipulation that your RV has to be newer, like 10 years or newer. And so they're basically trying to, keep out the lower income folks and, the old beat up vehicles. So it's going to be a case by case basis on RV parks. I'm sure some of them will accept it, but you'd probably want to call around and just kind of gauge RV parks in general. I've never stayed at an RV park, so I have no idea. Matt, yep, it's so I call it a 12-foot box because the floor is 12 feet. And if you go on Google and look for 12-foot box truck, you'll find this truck. But U-Haul calls it a 14-foot because the roof is 14. And U-Haul, they're renting these trucks out and they're trying to like, increase value by telling people it's a bigger truck. I don't know. So some people call it a 14-foot, some people call it a 12-foot. I call it a 12-foot box. The good, the bad, the rowdy. Best screen and reverse camera options. So I've always done hardwired backup cameras, but that's just because I have experience with installing them and I know how to do it. But these days, you can get wireless backup cameras on Amazon for pretty cheap. About $100 will buy you a wireless backup camera and then a little monitor that you can mount on the dash. Or some of them will have a rear view mirror monitor where it's a rear view mirror with a little monitor built in. So just go to Amazon and look for good reviews, find a 4 or 5-star wireless backup camera. And basically on the display part that sits up in the cab, you can just plug it. They'll have like a cigarette lighter adapter you can just plug in, or you can go ahead and hardwire it into your vehicle's electrical system. And then the camera that's on the rear, you will need to wire that into your electrical system as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. You'll have to run some wiring for the camera. Gentle Stone says check Truck Trader. Yes. Another one is Commercial Truck Trader, although I will say I've been looking at Commercial Truck Trader for a long time. They are the highest price marketplace because Commercial Truck Trader basically sells exclusively, not exclusively, but their audience is businesses. And so typically their stuff is in a little better condition, at least aesthetically. It's all cleaned up, ready to sell. And additionally, Jazz, what's your question? I didn't see your question. The chat's moving fast. Are there companies that build out box trucks like they do vans? Yes, Jazz. You just need to find a builder. So look for van life builders in your area and just ask them if they'll do box trucks. Or you can look for like bus conversions, bus builders. But yeah, there's a lot of builders that do different vehicles. It's not just vans. The difference is a lot of companies do the van conversions because the van conversions are easy. Because what they do is a lot of the van conversion companies, they just buy all the little aftermarket parts that are already made and they just basically put them into the van and then they sell them. So like that's why Sprinters and Transits and ProMasters are so popular, because companies can buy an empty Sprinter, they can go and buy cabinets from a company that makes Sprinter cabinets, bolt them into place. They can buy the bed platform that's specifically made for the Sprinter, bolt it into place. There's no measuring, no cutting. So they're basically just buying an empty van, they're assembling it with pre-made components, and then they're going to add 30% to the cost, and they're going to charge you for a custom van conversion. So that's why so many builders don't want to do box trucks or shuttle buses, is because they're not actually builders. They're just assembling pre-made kits. So you have to find an actual builder, but there's plenty of them out there. Another thing you can do is go to Van Life Trader, and Van Life Trader has a spot where you can find builders. So I love Van Life Trader. I've sold a couple vehicles on there. Personally, I sold my last box truck and my shuttle bus on Van Life Trader, and it's a really good platform. So when you open up Van Life Trader and you go to the top, you can see there's a menu that says Custom Builders. So if you go to Custom Builders, click on that, it's going to take you to a page, And these are all builders that will custom build you a vehicle. And so you just got to scroll down and look at the builders, see if there's anybody in your area, and see if there's anybody that will work on vehicles that you're interested in. So, like, for example, let's see if anybody does a box truck. I have no idea. So, nobody says they'll do a box truck. What about a bus? Okay, so it's possible the search engine just doesn't know how to search for that. But let's see. If we go to custom builders, and then let's just scroll down and see if we can find somebody that sounds like they would work on different vans and not just sprinters. They're definitely out there. At I met a guy at Tiny Fest that's here in San Diego, and he does bus builds and whatever vehicle that you want worked on. Let's try. Okay, I'm getting out of focus here. Let's try these guys. Bitterroot Builds. Okay, so like see for example, these guys say, are you looking to convert an ordinary cargo or passenger van into a fully functional and personalized mobile home, office, or adventure vehicle van conversion? So it looks like they only do vans. So you'll just need to scroll through here and find a builder that will work on other vehicles, but they're definitely out there. So for you, Jazz, that's the answer. Go to Van Life Trader, look for the builders section, and then see if you can, and then find one. And also YouTube, you can try checking on YouTube, and you can just check on like Facebook and your local van life pages. But yes, it's totally possible. All right, let's get back to the chat. Let's see what people got to say. Curtis, what kind of mileage do you get? Curtis, I average 9.5 miles per gallon. It's terrible fuel economy, but I don't care because I have no rent payment. So a lot of people freak out about the fuel economy, but the reality is if you're just living in a city, it doesn't really matter. You're not driving that much. And if you're going to travel, most people travel for like to get to a destination and then they stay for a while. Excuse me. So for example, when I stayed in Austin, Texas last summer, I did a budget. I was in Austin, Texas, van lifing every night, driving around all different places, going to the park, going to the river, going to get groceries. I only spent $400 on gas for the entire month. And my entire living expenses, gas, rent, insurance, cell phone, food, restaurants, gym membership, my entire monthly expense was only $1,300. Okay? That's incredibly reasonable. So fuel economy doesn't really matter that much. Now, when I went to New Mexico, that was a big road trip. I went from Texas all the way to the very tip of northern New Mexico through very high elevations. I used a lot of gas, and I still ended up spending less than $1,000 on fuel round trip for that big trip to New Mexico and back. So $1,000, yeah, that's a lot of money. But if you take $1,000, you know, on top of, so if you take my normal living expenses of $1,300, you back out $400 for gas, that takes you to $900, and now we put in $1,000 for gas plus all the other expenses. That would mean for a big road trip, it cost me $1,900 for that month. And so that's something you just budget for. And usually you're not doing that every month. Most van lifers aren't driving, thousands of miles a month. And if you are, then either have a lot of money or B, get a fuel efficient vehicle. But for the most part, I don't think fuel economy really matters as much as people think it does. And here's something else to consider. If you get a cheaper vehicle that you can just buy for cash, like say, for example, this box truck for $12,000, you have no car payment. You can get general liability insurance, which is what I have. It costs me $70 a month. But if you go and get a fuel efficient van, which is, you're going to be talking ProMaster, Transit, Sprinter, now you're looking at $30,000 just for the empty rig. And then you're going to need full cover. If you're going to finance it, you're going to have a payment at 7% interest, and you're going to have full coverage car insurance. So your monthly expense on a fuel efficient vehicle is going to be higher because of your payment, because of the interest rate, because of your full coverage insurance. So you're going to spend more money every month to buy a fuel efficient vehicle, unless you can buy that vehicle for cash. So I tell people, don't get caught up on fuel economy. It really doesn't matter. And if you're really low on money, you're not going to be traveling anyway. If you're broke, you're going to be staying in the city. You're not going to be going that far. And so, for example, for me, I only get 9.5 miles a gallon. But right now in San Diego, on the beach, in one of the highest zip codes, highest price zip codes in the country, I drive 3 miles from the beach during the day to my parking spot at night. That's it, 3 miles a day. If I want to go into the city and get groceries, that's on the way. That's within the 3 miles. If I want to go on a road trip and go 10 miles, I can do that. But I'm really not driving that much, and my fuel expense is pretty low. So I would say, why not have more space? If you're really on a budget and broke, get a bigger rig, be more comfortable in it. Okay, let's go back to the chat. You're welcome, Jazz. I hope that helped you out. I always want to try to help out the folks in the chat. I appreciate you attending. Curtis says, cool, I'm getting ready to list my O'Connell line. So Van Life Trader. Yes, Curtis, put the rig on Van Life Trader. I've had really good success. Van Life Trader is going to get you the biggest audience. You will get the most eyeballs on your listings. The nice thing about Van Life Trader is they promote their website heavily because that's their business. They make money when you list a van. And so they make money from you listing a van. They need more vans to sell, so more people use Van Life Trader. So put your van on there. But also, Curtis, list your van on Facebook Marketplace because I still see vans that sell on Marketplace. So drop it for free on Facebook Marketplace. If you don't want people coming to your house, take the van out to a shopping center or something to let them look it over. But don't shy away from the local listings. It's still a good option. I appreciate you guys being here in the live. If you could please give me a like or a thumbs up on the live so people know it's good. That helps the algorithm. It helps other people find the video. It helps YouTube know there is value in this video. And so we want as many people as possible to get this awesome information. William Harrison says exactly, no rent. That's what I'm saying, William. No rent, no renter's insurance, no water bill, no sewer garbage bill. Jazz says, what do you do for income? Jazz, I have two things I do for income. Number one is I have a YouTube channel. You're watching it right now. YouTube pays me about $700 a month. That's my average pay based on the videos that I put out and the subscribers. So it's not a lot of money, but for the lifestyle I'm living, $700 a month covers most of my expenses. So additionally, besides YouTube, I also install electrical and solar systems for other folks into their vehicles. So that's my in-person business that I do as well. In fact, I just landed a job for Saturday. So this Saturday, I will be here at Fiesta Island on the beach installing some solar panels onto a Dodge ProMaster. King Gamer asks if my rig is diesel or gasoline. My rig is gasoline. My recommendation for people is generally to get gasoline vehicles. Gasoline vehicles do have less fuel economy than diesel, but diesel vehicles have a lot more components. Most diesel vehicles have turbochargers. With the turbocharger, you have a whole slew of extra components and sensors and things to break and go wrong. You have a whole extra emission system. And so I feel like even though a diesel on paper has better fuel economy, you're going to end up spending more maintaining the diesel components and fixing them over time. Additionally, diesel fuel is typically more expensive than gasoline. So I think if you do the math, diesel is not really cheaper than gasoline, unless you're just driving coast to coast as a transporter or something, then diesel makes sense. Or if you're hauling a lot of weight. If you're getting a big rig, if you're getting a 25-foot box truck, then you would probably want to consider diesel. But, for a rig the size of mine or smaller, I would recommend a gasoline engine. Matt CA says the plan is to get a box truck and go around on my electric unicycle. Yes, sir. Fill that roof with solar and you can charge up your unicycle on the box truck. It'll be a great companion. I'm definitely planning on getting an electric longboard still. I just haven't got around to it. Outdoors Dreadhead says you can slow travel and keep it cheap that way too. Yes, Outdoors Dreadhead, you're right. So you can slow travel. You can spend a week or 2 weeks in a place and then move to the next spot and then move to the next spot. I mean, regardless of where you're at in life, it costs money to exist. So whether you're living at home, if you're in an apartment, if you're on a fixed income, wherever you're at, it's going to cost money every month for you to live. So in a vehicle, it's still going to cost you money. Just figure out what your budget is and then plan accordingly. If you're on a super tight budget, travel slow. Maybe just move town to town every month, whatever. But take that into account. Make sure your travel can match your budget. But I cannot foresee really any way that living in a vehicle is going to be more expensive than living in a sticks and bricks, unless you're in some kind of a fixed low cost or low income housing where you have like a super low fixed price and then you're also on some kind of a government subsidized income. But I feel like that's a very small majority of people. Most people have to work some kind of job. Charles says it will be my home but don't need the bi-power hitters except AC. Bi-power hitters. I don't know what that means. William, Diana, thank you. Also, I've been trying to sell my shuttle bus. Hey, Diana, yes, I know. I think Diana got a van. Is that true, Diana? You got a new, did you buy it or you were just looking at it? I think you were telling me about getting a new van to live in. Curtis says the state parks are right here. Yeah, that's one thing is you can probably stay in a state park or a state campground in a converted box truck. I don't think that's a problem. I think the most people that are going to not allow you is going to be private RV campgrounds, RV parks. They're the ones that'll kick you out. But I think a state park and stuff, you can probably stay in a converted box truck. Hey, Donald Frazier made it into the live. I appreciate you, Donald. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for joining us. It's looking good outside. I think I'm gonna, let's see. Let me do, I was gonna share, let me just go back. Well, let me do this. I'm gonna add audio. Let's see. I'm gonna add a camera. Hold on, guys. All right. Fired the iPhone back up. I just wanted to share this sunset with you guys. Let you guys watch the sunset live here from San Diego, California while we just go through these questions here. There's somebody running on the beach. Look how peaceful that is. That could be your view right now. I'm inviting anybody that gets a rig, join me in Southern California. I'm telling you, this is the van life mecca. It's a beautiful place. There's so much opportunity for van lifers out here. The economy is good. There's a lot of jobs. If you guys are looking for, gig work or Fiverr, Uber Eats, whatever, there's a lot of work out here. And I'm loving SoCal. I'm planning to make this a regular spot. I think I'll spend probably a few months every year down here in Southern California. So as you guys get rigs and build them out and hit the streets, I would love for you guys to come down here and join me. And we'll have a little camp out here on Fiesta Island. Robert says it's so different this side of the Mississippi trying to find parking. Yes, Robert, everybody's told me that the East Coast is a challenge. That's why I really haven't even gone to the East Coast. I started in Oregon. That's where I was living when I initially did van life. I've been through Washington, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, All these states, that's 6 states. These 6 states have like unlimited van life possibilities. There's open land, there's free public land. It's the spot to be. There's really no reason to stay on the East Coast unless you have family or a business and you just can't leave. Come west. Come to the land of freedom. We're waiting for you. Let's see. Donald Frazier says, what year is your truck? Donald, it's a 2007 Ford E450 Econoline. It is the 6.8 liter gas V10 engine. King Gamer says, stay away from turbos. That's for sure. Yep, V10. Diana Saylor, how many watts of solar do you have? I have 1,200 watts of solar. 1,200 watts of solar. I could have fit one more panel to get 1,500 watts, but I didn't. The reason I have that much solar, though, is only to run my mini split air conditioner. If you guys don't need air conditioning, you can get by on much less solar. I would say 400 watts of solar is a really good amount if you're only going to be using basic appliances like refrigerator, laptop, TV, Instant Pot, all that kind of stuff. You can totally get by with 400 watts of solar. You don't need to go crazy. If you're going to do a mini split air conditioner, you got to be 1,200 watts plus. Diana bought a 4-window short schoolie. Diana, tell me, why did you stop on the shuttle bus and skip over to a schoolie? That's a very similar platform. I'm curious why you made the change. William says, I'm a VA with disability. So William, you're a VA. Thank you for your service. You're a veteran. So you have a fixed income, but hopefully it's a good one. I'd like to think America takes good care of their vets. So hopefully you have a good chunk of change where you can afford this lifestyle and you can get out there and live the van life freedom. Robert Michael, dual cameras. Yes, sir, Robert. I got my iPhone. Linked up so you can watch the sunset with me. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's just so nice here right now. Kayaking would be nice. Yes, Robert, you guys can get kayaks. You can get inflatable kayaks. You can get all types of options to have fun on the water while you're living the van life. Donald Frazier worked in Coronado. Yeah, Donald Frazier knows it's beautiful down here. Robert Michael, $5 gas. Yes, sir. Gas is a little more expensive down here. But like I said, I'm not driving that much. Budget for it, Budget for it. The good thing about California, everything is close. You don't need to drive more than 10 miles to get anywhere. I mean, Home Depot, the beach, a parking spot, grocery outlet, Walmart, vehicle mechanic, anything you need less than 10 miles away. So, this isn't like being out in the rural country where you got to drive 45 minutes just to get from A to B. Mark says, I'll be in San Diego next weekend. Definitely going to stop by. Hey, Mark, they're having on Fiesta Island on Saturday, they're having the San Diego Camper Van Club meetup. So if you come to San Diego or Fiesta Island on Saturday, there's going to be a big meetup, tons of rigs. I'd love to see you. I'll be doing a solar install, and I'll also be hanging around Sunday. So definitely come through and say hi. I'd love to see you. Outdoors Dreadhead says, I watched the sunset a little over 2 hours ago on the East Coast. Love to hear it. Donkey de Dawn says, I can't wait to buy a box truck. Donald Frazier's jonesing. I'm jonesing to build a U-Haul. I have a 96 conversion right now. Heck yes. I live east right now and dream of living on the West Coast. Yes, Jazz, find a rig, find your builder, and come join us on the West Coast. The weather is beautiful. The people are friendly. It's the only spot to be. And Artist Life. Hey, Brad, it's Trish from San Diego Camper Van Club. Just catching the end. Hey, Trish. Good to see ya. I met Trish here a couple weeks ago at the meetup for San Diego Camper Van Club. Super good group of people. Everybody I met is so kind and friendly and welcoming. It's one of the best van life communities that I've come across. There's no cliques, there's no cool kids. Everyone's just hanging out with everyone, and everyone is happy to help each other out. So, Trish, I will be at Fiesta Island this weekend. I will be at the San Diego Camper Van Club meetup. So I will give you a price on adding the solar panel to your van. I know you wanted to know a price. I need to look at your charge controller and make sure it's compatible with adding a second panel, and then I will give you a price and I will take care of you. Fear not, you will be able to double your solar shortly. Charles, that's a beautiful picture. Yes, sir. Robert Michael, next level YouTubing. Nomad, smash that like. Yes, folks, this is a live view from San Diego. Please smash that like. I'm going to actually show you guys out the other window what it's looking like. We'll see if the other rigs are still parked here. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. So you could see a couple buses parked down next to me. Those are some of my Nomad friends that I've met along the road. And we've all been hanging out here in Fiesta Island for the last 3 days. It's been really fun. We've been hanging out all day, just relaxing, playing some games. And last night we had a Nomad pizza night. So my friend Erin has a pizza oven in her box truck, and so she made fresh sourdough pizza dough, and we threw together on some toppings and made a little pizza out at sunset. It was absolutely beautiful. And so that's something you guys can look forward to once you join the nomadic lifestyle, is the community and the good people out here. Donald Frazier says, my biggest cost will be the 1600-watt system. Got a line on a 2007 box truck for $9K. I think it's a good start. Nice, Donald. Yeah, 2007 box truck, $9,000. That sounds like a good deal. Make sure you check it all over. Have a mechanic check it. Do your due diligence. Make sure it's a strong runner. As far as solar goes, I have a video on my YouTube channel about how to buy solar panels for cheap. I highly recommend it. I've helped multiple people buy solar panels for a fraction of their retail. The solar panels I have on the roof right now, they are German panels. The brand is Axiom. They are 320-watt panels. The retail was $346 for each panel. I bought them brand new for $97 each. So if you want to save money on your solar panels, watch my YouTube video on solar savings. You will not regret it. Isn't Fiesta near SeaWorld? Yes, Donald, Fiesta Island is right across the bay from SeaWorld. The beach, no need for AC. Yeah, if you guys, I mean, honestly, I didn't even have air conditioning for the first 4 years of my van life journey. The only reason I installed air conditioning was because I had to live in Texas for a year and a half while I built out this rig, and it's so dang humid, you cannot live without AC. So that's why I installed air conditioning, but otherwise, I typically just follow the good weather, and I find that I really don't need air conditioning. So if you guys do the same, you'll probably be fine and you won't need it. Although it is just nice to have, because sometimes you will have those hot days, but if you're mobile and you're not stuck in a hot place, you don't necessarily need AC. In Artist Life, I will be there Saturday. Awesome. I'll see you Saturday and get you a price on your van. Happy to help you out. William, adios. Brothers, thanks for coming by. Friends, we are wrapping up on the live. It's 7 p.m. for me now. We started at 6 p.m. It has been 1 hour, and I've had a really good time chatting with everybody. I dropped some mega knowledge on, excuse me, on what to look for when purchasing a van, where to purchase a van, and for Jazz, I even showed where to find a builder that can build you a bus or a box truck or something. So dropped lots of nuggets for you guys tonight. I hope you appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. It was a super active chat. I appreciate the participation. It's no fun if you guys just sit there in silence. So I really appreciate everybody's cooperation. Curtis says it might rain Saturday. I hope it doesn't because I'm doing a solar panel install, so we'll find out. Have I considered a pet? Yes, Robert. I had a pet. I traveled with a pet for 5 years. She passed away last year. It was a wonderful experience to have her with me traveling. I will get another pet soon, probably next year. But for right now, I'm enjoying the pet-free life. And after being a nomad with a pet for 5 years, I'm happy to be on my own for a little bit. But I will be picking up a dog again very shortly. Diana said she sold the shuttle bus because she's having problems with parking spaces for the bus. Manufactured home community changed the owner's rules, can't park it. That makes sense. I get it. Totally makes sense. I'm glad you found the short bus. Brad, yes, William, you're right. A couple wireless TPZ cams would be clutch. I might invest in that at some point. I've used TPZs before. They're really fun to play with. How much did you pay, Aaron? I paid 12,000 for this box truck, all in with tax and fees. Almost 2 years ago in Texas, prices were much higher due to COVID, and inventory was lower. So from what I'm seeing, the market's down a little bit right now. You should be able to get a comparable truck for closer to $10,000. Good night, Robert. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in. In Artist Life, I will rewatch. Yes, Artist Life, rewatch. There's tons of good info here. Check it out. You won't regret it. Jazz, you're welcome. Fantastic Live. Bye, all. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the sunset. It's been a great chat tonight. I appreciate you. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we're going live into the foreseeable future. So mark your calendar. Next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, I will have an exciting new topic for everybody. Take care. Be safe. Happy travels.